and hotter note,
Yes,
let's
big
talk
time.
about the forecast.
We weren't 90 degrees today, though, so
Right.
there is some silver lining.
What were we, like 89?
And 85. That tied the record, though.
It was still hot.
It was very
Yeah.
hot.
Yeah,
But
miserable.
we are going to begin the cool down tomorrow with highs through the rest of the week in the 70s, and then the real chill arrives for the weekend. It was pretty outside, beautiful blue sky, 82 degrees our current temperature. Also, the humidity has come down a little bit, so we're beginning to tap into that drier air. And in fact, as Tropical Storm Nicole gets closer to Florida, we're going to see a stronger northerly flow, which is what is bringing in that cooler, milder, but drier air for the rest of the week. So yes, our high today tied the record of 85 that was set back in 1986. And check this out, our morning low of 72 is only a degree cooler than our average high for this time of year. Next few days, high temperatures, while still above average, will be at least back into the 70s and then well below average through the weekend and probably almost all of next week. Upper 70s at Bogalusa, same at Belle Chase, but otherwise low 80s across southeast Louisiana, starting to drop into the upper 70s in Mississippi. And as I said, dew points not as high as they were yesterday. Dew point values yesterday were in the upper 60s, lower 70s, so more low 60s. So beginning to see that drier air move in, but we'll really notice it by early tomorrow morning. Still on the humid side overnight tonight, and then the drier air really starts moving in, and that will take us into the end of the week and start of the weekend. And then that real cool down comes in by Saturday. Winds are kind of light and all over the place, but generally an easterly flow, which is helping to bring in just a few isolated passing clouds. We stay dry all day today. So widening out the map as, again, what is now Tropical Storm Nicole gets closer, the upper pattern is going to start bringing in more of a northerly flow. That is going to tap into drier air, which will start arriving really already, but more so during the morning tomorrow. And here is the latest. So Nicole has gone from subtropical to tropical. We started to see the eastern and western, or the western side, excuse me, fill in, although now the eastern side is a little bit more exposed. So it is still in a fairly hostile environment. But with that said, the expectation is that we will see this become a hurricane. Winds are already up to 65 miles an hour as it continues over the northern Bahama Islands and then continues into the east coast of Florida as a hurricane. Again, a lot of attention as to whether or not this is able to get into the Gulf of Mexico. Really doesn't matter. If the center kind of clips more the extreme northeastern part of the Gulf, it would be very, very brief and is going to be quickly moved up toward the north and the northeast because of the upper pattern, the cold front that is headed our way. What's really interesting is that it still has this enormous wind field, which it had yesterday. Now, the strongest of the winds obviously will be more near the center, but the wind field of tropical storm force winds will extend from about Charleston, South Carolina, all the way down to almost Fort Lauderdale. So this is a huge area, and consider this is all going to be an onshore flow. So storm surge really covers a good portion of the southeastern seaboard, not just Florida, but all the way up toward the Carolinas. Now, as it does move inland by Thursday, we'll start to see that wind field shrink, but still some very damaging winds across a good portion of not only Florida, Georgia, and up toward the Carolinas. So as far as the size of the wind field goes, it is large. The strongest of those winds obviously will be right near the center. Upper high is finally starting to break down as Nicole gets a little bit closer. That's when we start to get into that drier air during the day tomorrow, and that'll stick with us through Friday. Then here comes the real change with that cold front on the march for Saturday morning. So high temperature Saturday will probably be in the lower 60s briefly before this Arctic air mass spreads south. And boy, this is looking at a widespread area across the nation of very below average temperatures, especially for the folks in the northern tier states. But this is the temperature outlook going through next week. We will stay below average. So once the chill arrives for the weekend, it looks like it's going to probably stay throughout next week. Next few days, at least we're not in the 80s, back to the 70s, still above average. And then our morning high of 63 degrees Saturday, that'll be set earlier in the day. The rest of the afternoon will be in the 50s. May also see a few stray showers with the front, and then pretty chilly as we get into next week. Tuesday, though, we're looking at a little upper disturbance to kind of move over that cold air. So Tuesday right now kind of looking to be a cold, rainy, nasty day.
The new